Hey everybody, I just want to do a little bit of an update on my, 3D printing that I'm doing for my tabletop wargaming. I've been mainly focusing on EPIC 40K and Saga, really just sort of the games that I'm playing in the near future and ones that I'm just looking to have more terrain for. I have quite a bit of terrain for Saga, but with the battle book coming out and buildings coming out, there's just lots of opportunity for cool buildings and Dark Age stuff, so I wanted to supplement what I already have for that, and I'm just sort of starting to play Epic, so I've actually have a lot more than I have on the table here that I've done for Epic. Just have some examples, and then just some things that I've done, other things for friends and just to try. But I want to just kind of show some of the things that I've done, just to kind of show some of the capabilities. I have showed buildings like this already for Epic, and these are some of the first things that I've done. I've now primed them so you can see it a bit better. And as well, I have this style here that I've done. And so, pretty happy with this. I think these archways and just showing, this can be challenging at times. I've done some buildings where it has trouble printing over areas that don't have anything underneath it to print on, and so that's why I use supports, but this is actually printed really well, like without supports. So, and then for whether it be objectives or other kinds of scenery, I've got these kinds of pieces here. This is like sort of like something to hold promethium in 40K or oil, and another sort of vat kind of dome. So really happy with the results on those. One of the things that I wanted to try was some 28mm stuff, and the whole beginning of my printing I pretty much wasn't doing that. And so one of the big things that I've finished is this Viking Home, which is modular. And so there's really only 3 different pieces. I'll try to, I can't zoom out any further, but I'll try to show this a bit better. There's only 3 different sections that you actually print off, but you can print extra middle sections, which is what I've done. This would be like 1, 2, 3 for the front. Just showing this here. There's a lot of nice detail and scroll work in the wood. This could be like a Rohan house too, as a friend of mine that I played Lord of the Rings with has pointed out. And so then you have your back. You can use this as a closed building, or you can do the roof does print separately. What I liked it to do is print off, or I should say do it so this part is glued, just because the way it is it slips in up in the top, and I don't want to scrape all the paint, like paint the front of it and scrape it apart. So I'm just using it as an open building, but going to leave the front piece on. And it works out pretty good. I did use some putty because it prints in 3, well in this case 4 sections. I used some putty on some of the shingles where this line would be, so I only have the one line. Hopefully when I paint it I'll do some stuff just to sort of blend that in some more, because right now you can see the spots where the putty is. I'll be honest, as much as I love this building and I would do it again, to have a building of this size for Vikings, whether it be Saga or for other games, I do find doing a lot of printing parts to make something really big to get piddly eventually, because there is setup time in doing a 3D printing process. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but it's still there, and I'd much rather print in less pieces, even something larger, than in this case. This printed I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 separate prints to do this. And so this took me at my leisure over a week to print and then to assemble. There are buildings of this size with designs that you can do where you do them in much less. And this is a small building by the same designer, and actually I really prefer it in some ways as a process, just because what you do is you just print the bottom as one solid piece, and then you print the top as one solid piece. And true, it's not as much customizable. It has little, unlike the other one, has little knobs here for it to fit on as well. and it fits really snug. It's really nice, actually. And so I have one of these that I can go with this one for a little village. So yeah, you know, I found the bigger one doing a lot of different pieces to be a little bit more piddly and doable still, but not my favorite thing to do. I needed wattle fence, that's what I believe it's called, for this, and so I just really did these. I did these bent ones, and then I did the straight ones, just a few of them all together. I didn't do them separately. I didn't do like one of these. I just did. You can actually print, as long as you can fit it on your build plate, several designs at once, and in this case it just made sense to. And so these are really easy, and you get a really nice texture, and just really easily done. I mean, I think this was like an hour and 15 minutes to do 4 of these. Just have them print up, and probably the same, maybe a little longer for these rounded ones. And so I think these are going to be a really nice addition. Really easy to paint. And one of my favorites so far is this well, which I think is a really nice design. Prints in a few different pieces, but I printed everything within like an hour and a half. So it printed this piece, this in 2 halves, and then 4 pieces on the bottom that come together. And in the case, excuse me, of this one, I just put some plasticard on the bottom, like it would normally come hollow, but I just put some plasticard. And in some designs, they could have a piece that it goes on. There's no reason why the flat piece couldn't have been part of it, but that's just not the way they designed it. I wanted to paint this dark, so when you look in, you don't see the bottom of a green gaming surface or something. And so I was really happy with that. I think it'll be a nice little piece for the village within Saga. I have a friend that's into the old Warhammer Quest game, like the original, and he was missing the spiders. Now these aren't exactly like the spiders that came with it, but these are sort of a proxy that you can, that's freeware that you know just print off, and so I was able to print these 12 of these spiders probably within 3.5 hours or so. Just print them all at once, set it up once, print 12 of them at once, and good to go. And so really nice thing to be able to just do for an old board game, to be able to still play it if you can't find them. And then lastly, like, I don't really, and this is really hard to see because this is when I first started printing, but I don't actually plan on doing really much in the way of miniatures with this particular printer that I have. But this is an old, I believe it's an old Hero Quest model. It might be Warhammer Quest, I'm not sure, one of them, but it's just like a Chaos Warrior. And came out pretty good overall. I mean, I was still learning with it. I had a break when I was trying to take some of the supports off that I used, and I just had to glue like a leg back on. So it was also early in my printing. But overall, let's see if I can. The hard thing with this white PLA is it's really hard to see the detail. But yeah. There's a little bit of cleanup that still has to be done on them. But there are folks that have some nice miniatures that even with the PLA product at different scales you can use. There's a lot of freeware. Everything that I've printed here was free, and I'm not selling or anything like that. It's, you know, I'm not planning on it. It's just all for personal use. But the designers have put this on a website called Thingiverse, and it's all free to print. And so it's quite amazing, you know, with your initial investment of the printer, what you can get and print off for absolutely free. And a lot of it, I think, is actually really good quality. I've been saying that I'm going to do a video, and I still intend to. I just kind of wanted to give an update on just some of the stuff that I am doing with the printing. But I'm going to sort of do a video just on my approach as to why I rationalize the economics and, I wouldn't say necessity, but just advantage of doing 3D printing, despite the fact that I still enjoy making terrain and that skill set that you develop in doing it. So I'll talk about that again in the future. So yeah, I'm currently right now, painting-wise on the table, working on some warriors for Saga for my Scots. And so they're not really at a place where I want to show them at the moment, but I'm still putting base paint on them and things like that. So I just kind of thought I'd just give an update on this stuff that I'm working on. So, okay, talk to you later, everybody.